Akin Akinpelu was a very young teacher when I was still active in school, and I still believe he's one of the best teachers I've ever come across. We had this program where thousands of teachers applied, and he was one of the 50 that were chosen. And I think that started his formal foray into teaching as a profession. And throughout, we always regarded him as possibly the best, one of the best teachers in the school, if not the best. He's a great maths teacher, a great further maths teacher. But that's way beside the point. He was also a motivator of the students. He cared for every student, and all the students cared for him, loved him, and wanted him to talk to them. If they had problems, all you had to do was call Larry. Larry, please help me talk to this child. And so he went way beyond the normal call of duty. Oh yeah, I wrote the foreword. So writing the foreword, I wouldn't just write without going through it. And of course, what he's doing is trying to equip teachers with the skills, the innate skills and attributes you need to be a transformational teacher, because that's what you're called to be, not just to teach a subject, but to transform children, so that any child who comes in contact with you is the better for it. Like I said in the room, a teacher touches eternity. You never know where your influence will end. Teachers should be role models, and should lead and should teach their students with their heart, with their eyes, with their mouths, so that you teach them, they hear what you're saying, but you care for them. When you care for them, they will work for you, and they'll do well. The 7-Star Teacher book is an excellent book that gives teachers a lot of tools and skills for how to deal with the students in their care. So taking them well beyond the realm of just the content of their subject, but taking them into the realm of motivation and inspiration. First, let me disabuse you of certain things. Before I got into government service in Lagos State, I described myself as an educational activist. That is, I was severely critical of government. When the governor came in, I sent many tweeters to him. Who are you going to choose as your education commissioner? Make sure it's somebody who has worked in the sector. Make sure, I wrote a lot of things. Looking at them now, I'm quite amazed at my temerity then. But he never did reply. But he called me one day and, said, my name is Babajide Sonwulu. I said, okay, continue. Thinking this must be, I said, can we see? So he had never met me before, never seen him before. So I think for having the big heart to choose someone like me, I think I must say thank you to him. That means he does understand that education is not something that you play with. It means that you do give people who are in the industry and people who do want to see changes happen. The government is not an easy place to work in for somebody who has been in the private sector. If you approve something, when I was CEO of Corona, if I approve something on Monday, by Wednesday, the thing is ready. Here, you'll approve and you'll be feeling happy. 3 months, somebody will say they haven't done it. Happened. The governor approved. It still has to go through. And if you see all those initials, STO, CIA, then you start to wonder. It has a long journey before it actually happens. So I think one thing they've taught me there is patience, but also tenacity and determination. That I will get the money out. I will get it out, and I will not do some things about getting it out either. So I think when you're also talking about supporting, while I'm all for you supporting government schools, of course, we must always remember that these schools are there, and therefore there must be a holistic solution that also includes getting people out of poverty. So the role of government, of course, is usually regulation, training of teachers, providing an enabling environment, prioritizing certain things, provisions for the students in school, and so on and so forth. But I loved the inclusion of fintech, because yes, there are many children out of school. Lagos seemingly doesn't have that problem, but it does. It does because our population is growing at such a rapid rate. It's estimated that 77 people come to Lagos every hour and do not leave. We have schools that a couple of years ago had 2,000 to 3,000 students. Today they have 10,000. And we cannot turn, who do you turn away? So there are too many people coming into Lagos. The population is exploding, and we just have to look for other models for sending children to school. I totally buy that, and I really want to have a conversation about that. But I will talk about what government can do with improving learning outcomes, and using Lagos State as a case study again. Again, in Lagos State, we have a transformation plan, and people have supported us with infrastructure. Old students are the greatest because they are always very passionate and emotional about their school, and they would do anything within their means to support their school. So you have old students, you have NGOs, you have development partners, you have communities and so on who are supporting us with building schools. Right now, we have maybe about 1,200 projects across Lagos State where we are building, supplying furniture and so on. But sometimes I sit down and say, we are doing so much, but it looks like we're not doing much because the situation is really quite critical. To reinvent the wheel. Somebody has done financial literacy, and I don't want teachers teaching financial literacy because you know how they will do it. What is a debit? Debit is something. What is a credit? No, we want them to teach it in such a way that you set up your business and you run your bank account and you run your financials. So that so we are having to do a lot of retraining of teachers, experientially, exchange programs, use of technology, and so on and so. So there are some exciting things that are happening in the teaching and learning space. I wish I were a young teacher today. I know what I would do, but I thank God that at least we're able to support them in one way or the other. And so that in short is what is the role that I think we should all keep encouraging government to play. Keep improving the profession. It's a great profession. And when you see, I'm a daughter of 2 teachers, and my mother taught maths. I hated maths. And I was ready to go for F9. Because in my days, it didn't matter. It wasn't 5 credits, including maths. And you pass WAEC, you pass WAEC. And I knew I was going to get a grade 1 with distinction or something else. Well, this maths, so I will fail it. I'm all right. So she used to teach me maths in class. She was my class teacher, which is one of the worst things you can ever endure. And I used to sit in a corner, like over there. She gave me money for a math set. I said, well, since I'm going to fail this subject, why should I spend this money on a math? So I enjoyed my life buying Gurudi and Chuk, and used the money to buy. And my friend and I, we went around dustbins and picked up remnants of the, you know, somebody will throw away a protractor or something. We put it. So it was on the floor between my friend and I, and we used to bend down to use it. My mother noticed me bending down. You know, they used to wear platform shoes in those days. You know, it's a very elegant woman with her afro wig and platform shoes. I didn't know where she walked up to where I was, and she stood on my hand, with my hand on the math set. She stood there and taught the class that day. Needless to say, I had to get serious. I got serious, and my mother, who I still think is one of the best math teachers I've ever seen, though I was ashamed of her when she was teaching me. I thought she was too... She wasn't... She used to come to school with a big Ghana must-go bag with all sorts of things. Cylinder, you know, all those things you don't know. And I thought, why other teachers don't do that? They just come and write. Why are you different? I wanted her to be like everybody. So I was embarrassed, and she's too lively, and she made maths very lively. It's not supposed to be interesting, it's supposed to be boring so that I can fail it properly. So she taught me maths and up to my school start, and I had an A3 in maths. Yeah, the student who was gone in for certain F9. Oh, I was happy with my F9. No problem about that. So since we know the power of teachers, and I know the power of teachers, what we have to do with teaching is to make that profession greater than it is. People know it's great, but we are not, nobody wants to be a teacher. When you said recruitment, nobody wants to be a teacher. You have to beg people. I have young people coming to me. I have beard, but I want to be an accountant. But I'm in Ministry of Education. I can only give you a job as a teacher. I don't want to be a teacher. I've had young teachers who said they've not been able to find wives. Because anytime a girl knows you are a teacher, let me go and look for the banker. And I will tell the banker will get home late. Teacher will get home on time. And sometimes a little loving is more than a lot of money. I think there are so many things that teachers must learn, and I'm hoping that I can encourage our universities to rethink the teacher training curriculum and make it more fit for purpose and less didactic. Too much content and not enough about the reality of what they will meet in the classroom. So I think I've said a bit, I didn't talk about what we are doing in Lagos, but we are trying to train our teachers as well in a lot of things. And they face all sorts of situations that you will never understand. Like the child who comes from home that has not eaten that morning, or the child who comes from home has only one uniform, and it's torn and it's too short for him, or the child whose parents have beaten him up, or the child who has woken up that morning and has gone to sell something in the market. So how do we ensure that? So we have to ensure that we train our teachers in the reality. So once again, I thank you for listening. And the problem with teachers is we talk too much, isn't it? So let me go and sit down.